This is
Hi.
Gay Isber, and I am the host of Jewelry as Your Side Hustle. And today we have a very special guest, Sara Mizrachi, and I am so excited. I think she can say her name better than me, but she knows what I'm saying. Sara Mizrachi. I have to get that little. But anyway, we're so glad to have her, and it's a beautiful day today, and the sun is coming into her studio, and you can just see the sun on her face. So it's going to be a great little hour we're going to spend today, and we're going to get to know about Sara. I'm so excited. Yay. So, Sara, I'm in Austin, Texas. Where are you?
I'm in Skokie, Illinois, so I'm like a little bit north of Chicago. We're in the northern suburbs.
In the northern. Is it a beautiful day there?
Yeah, actually, it turned out to become quite beautiful. It was like really cloudy this morning. We had like a lot of heat and a lot of sun, and then it kind of flipped to like cooler weather, but not cold, just like mild, and then just rainy and clouds. So today we have some sun again, which is really lovely.
Is it feeling like fall already there?
I don't know. We had false fall, and then we had like second summer, and then I think we're back into like fall, but possibly false fall, and then it's supposed to get a little bit warmer again.
Well, it's a transition time, that's for
Yeah,
sure. At least there's a lot of people in the US that are really suffering this week with the hurricane.
yeah.
So, or at least I have to say, I'm happy that I'm not there, but I'm sorry for those
You
people.
know, my happens to be my oldest is very into meteorology. She's 8, but she's been into it already for quite a long time, since around like 2 or 3, asking those questions. So my in-laws are in Cincinnati. They lost power over the weekend, but thankfully, other than some really, 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 I mean, it was like 70-mile-per-hour winds actually in some of the area. They luckily did okay. And I've told her, because she's very curious about, she asks about tornadoes and things like that. I'm like, kiddo, we live, thankfully where we live, we don't tend to get certain types of weather tornadoes. There have been like a few while we've lived here, and she gets a little scared, but we talk about it. um so she's still very much into it. She was talking to me about the hurricane, and I told her, just be very thankful. My in-laws are moving to Florida, although on the other side, but it terrifies me, like, to be that close to that kind of weather. Like, I don't love it.
I don't know what to say. I would not move to Florida right now.
I mean, my parents are back in New York, and we're in Brooklyn, so we've gotten, I mean, thankfully the most we got was really with Hurricane Sandy. Otherwise we tend to just get like the back end of things.
Right.
But as I can't even, like, I've seen people posting pictures and videos, and I just,
It does
it makes
affect all
you
of
so
us, even though
grateful
we're
to
not.
not be
Yeah.
there, but also your heart breaks because you want to be able to help or do something, and you, other than like donating money, I just, yeah,
Not much we
what are
can
you
do.
supposed to do?
Yeah. Let's talk about you. Let's talk
Happy
about
thing.
your journey and how you got started. So, so you have 3 children,
Yeah.
and you're working in your home studio down in your basement room, a room that you carved out. But tell me about how you got started. Like, how did this whole jewelry thing begin? Because it's like in you when you're a
Yeah.
creator, you got to create. Did you do anything
Yeah.
before?
So this has kind of been my thing for like a good 30 years of my life. I started as a little kid. And then I was just making stuff like for my mom, and she would always love it and wear it. And I was very good with like colors and patterns. Even then, although I didn't realize it at the time. And then, some years passed, still just my thing. And at 13, my best friend had come over, and it was one of those like rainy, yucky days. And we're like, what are we going to do? My mom took us to Fabric Bonanza. That was the name of the store. It's been gone for a long time now. And picked out like some clay beads and some wire and things like that. And we were making stuff, and I made a necklace. I vaguely remember what it looks like. It was like this burgundy and black, or like purplish and black. It's like a flower clay bead with maybe some crystals and some like pewter beads or something. But she had such a strong reaction to it. Like, she was like, when we were 13, she was like amazed by it. And I was like, something clicked. in my head, I'm like, oh, I can do this for more than just my mom. Like, this is something that I can do. And I started selling. My mom helped me. I started selling in like the local bingo halls, like the old movie theaters that just turned
Love
into
it.
bingo halls.
I love
And I
it.
had like, like $5 things. And I start, just slowly from there, I started working towards like using Swarovski crystal, which I'm so upset they don't make anymore.
Me
Although I
too.
don't, although I don't really use them so much. Like I kind of just like have them in my containers, and I'm just like I use them sparingly, or like when my
I
kids are old
know.
enough and they'll be
I
like
know.
nice and treat for them to use those. And I started using glass seed beads. And this was like around like 15. I was doing a lot of like, I started using like all these small, tiny things and I would start using like barrel clasps. So I started teaching myself how to create like the loops and other things to keep them closed and crimps. And so I was just kind of that whole time really just self-taught.
Yeah.
And then by the time I got to 17, I started really looking into like Cobble Hill, Park Slope, like the areas that are like artsy fartsy in Brooklyn. Like, so it wasn't where like the local places anymore. It was a little bit, I had to just get out of that zone to where the population was that was a little more appreciative of that handmade item. And so I started there, finding like those big annual markets to do. I went to FIT at the Fashion Institute of Technology, but in the meantime, I was still kind of doing my own thing. Even after that, like maybe a couple of other skills, but still really just all the ones that I've taught myself. And basically at 18-ish, as soon as I could, I filed like for my business license, like got, the bank account set up, just making it official so that way I can get like the wholesale tax ID and everything. And I just wanted to get it started. Like I just wanted to do it. So I just kept on doing my own thing, finding these markets. Although at the same time, at some point, also started working in early childhood as an aide and then an assistant. So like I was also getting my craft out at like on that side too. And I
Right.
love to do all that stuff. But jewelry was still happening, like even through that. And I was still doing markets on Sundays and doing like girls' night out things and whatever I could do. And then it was 2008. So I was 22, and I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. So like I kind of had to switch gears because I liked making like what you have, like these big statement pieces, and I would wear them all the time, but like they were shorter, but like these just like using like gemstones and sterling at that point, gold filled, but like these I like to make like these big statement pieces. But at that point, after I had had my surgery, even now, like it's still just very sensitive. I mean, you could see the scar still, but it's very sensitive. So I really can't put too much weight on it. And I'm like, I kind of just internally started changing the way I started designing. So instead of making these big, heavier pieces, kind of taking the elements that I wanted and then creating a simpler look out of them. So instead, be like more pendants and earrings. I still love to make earrings. Those are my favorite things to make. But kind of like just taking those elements that I wanted, the colors, the metals, the look that I wanted to give, like the textures and the shapes, and just create something simpler out of it. So something that I still have trouble wearing certain things, like certain chains can kind of be a little bit uncomfortable. But I'll wear them here and there, and also either with my kids and my youngest will pull it right off. So I haven't really bothered unless I'm going out. Um, but it was an easier way for me to be able to like picture wearing something, and it was easier to relate to. So I started making more of these like simple statement pieces instead of these big huge collars. I had finally gotten my ears pierced at like 20-ish. So I was also be able, like I would design these, I love long earrings, although I'm not wearing any right now, but
That's okay.
I really started getting into that aspect of like just evolving with between like that, and then there was the recession earlier that year, in 2008. So like it was kind of like
Yeah,
this
I remember
multiple,
that.
yeah, it was
You,
like kind of
yeah.
like this multiple uh scenario situation that really like geared me towards changing what I was doing and making something that was just a little bit more relatable for me. And I felt in the end actually more relatable to my customer. So I think it was easier to, you know, be able to wear something that maybe you could also layer a little bit more. Um, but that was how I kind of switched into what I've been doing since then. And getting into brass, like loving these geometric brass. Like I love mixing like these hard angles with like softer gemstone shapes. Um, so yeah, it's always been a part of my life. In the last year-ish, been like diving really deeper into all aspects of business, not just, you know, the fun stuff, but really having to make like harder decisions and be like, okay, do you really need to buy this supply? Do you really need to make a new design? Like, you know, because, you know, really have to make yourself do things you don't necessarily want to do. But I've been enjoying it all the same and teaching myself new skills.
I mean, you're an artist from birth. Like that's just how you are. It came out. You're an entrepreneur from birth. Not everybody has these skills. Like it's just what we are. Like I know, I'm just like you. I was born an artist. So whatever it takes, I put every penny I've ever made back into my art and to my craft and getting better and better and better and better and better and changing it all up all the time and learning new things. And it's totally self-taught, just like you. So I appreciate what you do. I really do. And then having three kids and surviving cancer, you know, that's a really big deal. So all these things affect us and we put all that back into our jewelry and it does change our what our product is for sure. Something happens and so we're changing it up.
Yeah, it was different. It was like this change of perspective. Like I really enjoy the way I've evolved. Like it was really something because I had to learn so much and also really have to be like self-aware. You really
Yeah.
have to accept certain things. Like if someone gives you some kind of criticism, like you have to listen to it and understand why. Like there were people, I definitely had some interesting reactions to pieces. Like there are people who insisted, like, and I was honest. I would always be honest. Like if something was glass, I'll tell them it's glass. I
Yeah,
had
of
someone
course.
insisting that it wasn't even glass, that it was actual stone. And I'm like, why would I tell you that it was glass instead of stone if I wanted to sell it? Like,
Right.
you know, maybe get a different reaction for something that's glass versus stone, but whatever.
Right.
Um, and you know, you get all these different kinds of reactions and feedback, and you
Yeah.
have to listen to it. Some of it can certainly write off, and other things that, you know, you could get some really good ideas. I noticed I could see an outfit and I get inspired by a pattern I find, or I really love to dress people. Like I've been doing these fashion mood boards. Like I really, 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 really love to be able to pick out an outfit and help somebody accessorize. I like
Yeah.
to do that at markets too. Like I ask questions like what typical color, like if it's earrings, what length, what usual shapes, because you know there's studs, there are hoops,
Yeah.
there are dangles of all different shapes and sizes. So I'd like to ask questions, you know, try to get an answer to show them that I'm trying to help, not necessarily push, but then I'm trying to help so I can maybe even help them have a better idea of what it is they're looking for. Because it's happened, you know, they didn't necessarily think about something until I mentioned it. So I'm glad to be able to be that person, but it's all these different perspectives that come in. And
And I think even asking them, like, what is your day job? Because if they're a daycare worker,
yeah,
they're not going to be wearing dangly earrings. Like that ain't going to
yeah.
happen. But if they're, going to an office every day, that black dress that they've been wearing all the time is
Mm-hmm.
now going to look better with a beautiful necklace or an earring or something like that. And that kind of helps for them to understand where they're going to where this piece is going to be worn. Is it just go to
Yeah.
church on Sunday? Like, is it just fancy dinners? Is it a ball? Like all those kind of things. I think they always come into play. I think those are really good questions to have. Just also just keeps the conversation going and
Mm-hmm.
kind of connects you to them, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that way they kind of get an understanding of your aesthetic too, and then you get an idea of something that maybe they're even dreaming about, and you can help them make that happen. So I love custom orders. So for me, that's always fun. I like to be able to work back and forth and like find out. I have someone actually who's been a customer of mine since like 2008 or so when she found me in Brooklyn, and we're both in different parts of the country. Then we both were in New York. But like we've collaborated a few times, and like, you know, even if I have to restring something, or, you know, if it takes an extra few minutes of my time, I like that process, because in the end also like it helps me learn something, and it also makes them happy.
I think that every time I make a piece of jewelry, I'm learning something. I mean, I don't care if I've made 10,000 earrings, which I probably have. Still today, I made some for a customer. That was a freebie to go along with a bracelet that she'd ordered. And I just, I like to do that because it doesn't take very long to put six beads together. Done.
Hmm.
But I always am like, yeah, I'm checking every little part of it. And that's from years of experience just making earrings, like three stone earrings. But
Yeah, making sure the like the loops are closed
yes,
just
make sure it's
so.
straight,
Yeah.
make sure there's no little rough edges, making sure the top is all done. So I
Yeah.
get it. Like it's something that people don't understand. And that's that artisan part of us that we want our clients. I don't call them customers. I say they're my clients because I want that relationship with them, a long-term relationship with them. They're not just a customer where it walks into Walmart, but a client is somebody we're gonna have on repeat, right? I'm talking while you're coughing because I can see you're
I know.
coughing.
I got a
But
tickle.
I definitely try really hard to make the clients really happy. Like crazy how hard I work for the customers and the clients that I do have. And where do you sell your jewelry now? Because that's also part of the development of an artist is
Yeah.
how have things gone? Where are you and how are
Oh.
those? As I can tell you're choking. Joking, girl.
Right.
Cough it up. Cough it up.
I don't know. I got a tickle in my throat, and that's the end
I
of
know
it.
how that is. Yeah. Water went the wrong
I have
way.
so I have a home site. I have an Etsy site.
And what's the name of those?
There's
Let's talk about your name.
there's hair, and then I'm in about 15 stores, mostly like local in Illinois, and then a couple in Georgia and in Florida.
Wow, so you're really all out.
Um,
I'll let you cough for a second while you catch your breath. I don't know if you need
in
another
Missouri
sip of
also.
water. It's okay. Just take a breath. It's all right. We're not, don't force it. No big rush. Like 15 stores is a lot of stores, so you're doing really well. And I definitely want to hear about what your Etsy shop name is and also what your Instagram handle is. And also where we connected. Like I think it was on a
It's through the
jewel
Artisan Group.
the Artisan Group. Yeah, the Artisan Group. Like a little plug, little
Which, by the
shout
way, I
out.
wish I knew about so long ago. I used to like, I don't know, like I was still young, like, well, younger. Like around 20, I was approached by this random PR group, and like I had the money like for myself at the time. So I was like, you know, okay, let's just do this. But like at the end of the day, when I look back at it, like it kind of helped shape like my brand name and some other things. But like, oh my gosh, I wish I knew about the Artisan Group, because they've done so much more for me than I was doing with that PR group. And I
It
was paying
definitely
them so much money.
Oh, I'm gonna let you cough for a second and I'll just kind of fill in a little blank here. But I think when I joined the artisan group, it was really to connect with celebrities. Isn't that right? Isn't that what
Yeah.
I was doing? And then I haven't really gone through them for anything, but I have done a lot of movie things. And so it's just kind of like if you kind of get that in your mind, like that's kind of what I want. It's like
Hmm.
kind of like something that you can make happen. I'm making a piece right now for one of the Black Panther actresses. And I sent it along with a little bracelet and blah blah blah. So I'm actually gonna remake it, change it up a little bit, make it a little bit smaller for her because those little actresses are so tiny. And are you feeling better? And
Yes, a little bit.
okay, you were struggling there, and I felt bad for you. So yeah, but the Artisan Group is a great group. Are you affiliated with any other groups? Because there's a lot of groups out
Um,
there doing.
not like with PR strictly. I mean, my goal is honestly to be like approached, at least like with the artisan group like side of things. Like I would love to be approached by a costume designer that wants to order something or like have something specially made. Like 100%. Like that's a goal for me.
Yeah. What is the
Um,
names of your Etsy shop? Let's talk about the
so
go back.
everything is the same, so it makes it very easy. It's Sera Sela Jewelry.
Okay.
Um, so that way, I mean, even Twitter, but honestly, I really don't do anything on Twitter. I
Me
used
neither.
to, but then for some reason I got locked out
Yeah,
of
me
my
too.
own account and it
Yeah,
like
me too.
just disappeared. So I started another one, but I really don't do anything on it because also when it used to be part of Meta, so like and everything on Instagram would go there. Mm. So
They get us locked in. It's all about money, really.
yeah, so I
It's,
have it's on Facebook, Instagram, and I actually couldn't I figure out how to connect Pinterest and Instagram. That's a new thing. So that way my Pinterest is like back to being active instead of like once
yeah.
every 6 months to
It's
like put
hard to do
stuff
it.
on there.
It's like we're jewelry creators, but we have to be content creators. It's really
Yes.
crazy.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you have to think of so many different aspects. Like you have to, you have to show up, you have to show your face, you have to talk about yourself, and then you have to like, if you show things being worn and how to wear it. And then if you have that press, like celebrity, whatever kind of press to bring that up also and try to do the best that you can to get that get that out there. I mean, with when it comes to like TV and movies, it's like you're always crossing your fingers and hoping because you never know. And then like what's happened to all the pieces that we've sent over the years? Like where are they now? I have no idea. And then you maybe one day like that's happened before in the group where someone's wearing something on a completely different show and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, the costume
It
designers
happened to me.
keep it and put it on something else. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it happened to me with one of my bracelets I had sent for a movie, and then it was on what was an Apple TV show, was it Amber Brown or something like that. But I don't know, I didn't expect it. I was like, all right, fine. But it's just I'm very curious to know where on earth my pieces are that were worn and that weren't worn. Um
I think it's interesting because I love ancient jewelry and I love looking to see what they've dug up, from ancient times. And I kind of
mhm.
wonder if all of these creations, I don't even know how many things I've created since I was, like you said, early on, like I was early into this as a very young child, into creating not just jewelry, but all kinds of art. And like, where, what will happen to these pieces as eons go? And all of those things that I have sent all around the
Yeah.
world. Like, I kind of wonder, like, someday they're gonna dig this stuff up and go, why is this
Yeah,
like
I
this?
mean, I my earrings were worn on This Is Us, and that's gonna be like 5 years ago almost, because I remember it was in February of 2020. Um, and I mean, I've sold them all over the world at this point. Like I've sold them to Tokyo, all over the UK. I sent actually to Australia, so that was
Oh,
amazing.
yes.
Um, so it's like it's really interesting. Like that many years later, people are still. I mean, obviously, the show is also now on Netflix, so people can watch it and are finding it again or rewatching it. And I like sold it to all these different places, and like I wonder, and like in all that time, the original earrings, like where are they now? It's like I don't know, but I love that I've sent them everywhere.
Do you have any pieces that are right there where you are, where you're
Let's
sitting, so
see.
you can show us some
I
of
was
your?
actually so I've been building some stock and then I always try to go through things to be like, okay, what can I just like kind of keep around for um like store purposes that I don't do. I do mixture of like the wholesale styles where I make multiples and then I do like in like small batch and then I have pieces that are like one-offs.
Yeah.
Um So I try to do like a whole mixture because I feel like it also stunts my creative process too much if I only do the same things over and over again.
I agree.
So let's see, I have this really
Let's
cool
see.
bar necklace.
Put your
It's like
hand
this
behind
really
that so
cool
we can
bib.
see it. Can you put your hand behind it? That's good though. Okay. Oh, what is that made of? It's
So
beautiful.
that's all brass. I've been working a lot with brass because it's
Love that.
technically a hypoallergenic material and it ages beautifully. So it becomes like, I mean, you could polish it, but it becomes like this really nice bronzy-ish
Yeah.
rustic color. So I've been
Yeah. Oh, it's a
loving to
gorgeous piece.
work with it a lot. And it's fun because over time I collected all these shapes. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then not really necessarily always knowing what to do with it. So then a piece like this comes around where I had like these V shapes that didn't really work for too much. But then making these bib necklaces, it like on because they thread onto the ball chain. I was like, oh, that's really super cool. I have
Fun when
the
we have that aha moment, like,
yeah.
oh, look at this. This is
So
great. Like,
and like along the similar style, I had actually gifted these through the Artisan Group to Zoe Kravitz.
oh, those are
And I was
beautiful.
almost I
Oh,
really hoped that when the Batman movie had come out, like these were so Selena and she
yeah.
I mean, I don't know however they chose her, chose what you wear, but like I was so hoping for some reason I was gonna see these on her because it would have been so perfect with her character. But I
She's
want
so
to
adorable.
take a picture of these because they're just really, really cool. And
I love it that
there's
they're,
something that
they're
I've still
double.
been selling since then too.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
So
Those
and
are
like
gorgeous.
and they're not like they look heavier than they are, which I also
She's
really
adorable
like
actress. I think she's so
these
tiny.
that are like lightweight
Yeah.
but don't look lightweight. And then I've been working on because I love florals and I do a lot of floral work, kind of getting like holiday inspired. So
Yeah,
these, if
those
you
are
can't
really
tell, so I have to get some better lighting up, but these are chrome diopside on the bottom, so that like nice forest green. And then there's a
beautiful.
freshwater pearl inside each flower, just
Oh,
to
those
give
are
like a
beautiful.
little bit of green in between, and it spaces beautifully.
Those are beautiful holiday or
Thank you.
evening
So, I
wear
mean,
or
trying to like, I've been trying
yeah.
to get. I don't usually do like strictly holiday or
Theme.
seasonal trends. I usually pick from what I have, and that kind
Where are those earrings available?
so these I just made. I actually still have to photograph them. These I'm probably going to put up on Etsy and my home site versus wholesale because these, I mean, at least like the chrome diopside part of it, those are a little bit more of a one-off um like stone availability.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna put them on my home site and Etsy. And because I can make like one or two more of those, but that would be like
Very
it.
limited. Limited and
Um,
rare. Get it
so
now.
the
They're gone.
so these, I mean, they're just super. I love the way they move. I actually had made one that was it was just white pearl, but I didn't have them segmented. I just had it all in a row, and I usually don't do that. But I kind of liked having something that was a little bit different from what I usually
Those
do.
are beautiful.
So they're just super
The
pretty.
right length and they have a lot of movement and
Yeah. And I
movement.
tell people that there are people who come to me like, oh, I have short hair. I can't pull off long earrings. I'm like, why? Your neck is showing. Show off your neck. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to feel as if, you're bringing too much attention. Like, that's the whole point. You have short hair, your hair is up, like mine is like pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Things like bring on
I
that.
tell everybody there's something that I tell my customers. It was like Fabergé when he was making things for the Tsarinas and all the, back in the way back times, that he was making things with movement. Like the tiaras would have a little trimmer
Mm-hmm.
on
I've
it
seen
because
those.
across
Yes.
the room,
Oh,
that
yeah.
trimmer was noticed, and it's the movement of the jewelry and the catching of light that really, it's that shimmer, shimmer, shake, shake
Yeah.
that catches the fish. It's not just a fishing lure, it's they put the little spinner on there to get that extra
Yeah,
light.
because we're still primal in the end of the
Yes, we
day. We're
are.
still,
We
yeah.
are. And you know why we like sparkle? This is another thing that people don't realize. Because sparkle in our prehistoric man DNA was meant that there was water. They could see, oh, there was a sparkle somewhere in the distance. Ah, there's water. And so that water was something that we always gravitated for. And so sparkle is really because
I
of
feel like
water.
I feel like also a light source. So they're
Yeah.
like, no matter what, it's just part of survival.
Yeah, you're right. Isn't it amazing how that is so primal in us? And even wearing jewelry, it's earliest times,
Oh
thirty
yeah.
thousand years ago, they
I
were
love
making
ancient
beads.
Egyptian, especially. That was like one of the earliest things I was inspired by was ancient Egyptian art and jewelry. My mom is very into Japanese art, and she would take me and my brother to the museums all the time. We would just go. We enjoyed it ourselves. And I always love going to the ancient Egyptian, anything ancient Egyptian. I'm not really into like English or Victorian, except for the jewelry and maybe glassware and costume, not into like art, but I love ancient Egyptian.
It's amazing how it's just so relevant even today, even though it was 4,000 years ago, like 4,000 years ago. And how, and the other thing that's interesting is how I think this is interesting anyway, is that during those time periods, which was over a long period of time, like 1,000 years, they really didn't vary from their theme. Like, this is the theme,
Mm-hmm.
everybody stick to it. This is what we have available. Everybody go.
But it was amazing the fact that they were able to make such things with like you
Oh, of
figure now
course.
we have lasers and electricity
Exactly.
and to be able to do what they did by hand, I mean, it's insane.
It
It's
is
insane.
insane.
The mill work, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, you think about back in the Stone Age when they were making jewelry and they were wearing jewelry, they had what, rocks, horn, sticks. That's all they got. You know, they
It's
they
I
could
can't.
take an ostrich egg and beat it to death, which is not an easy thing, by the way. And for me, I have to like take a tile cutter, like saw,
Mhm.
like cut it, like it's just like, and then a drill. It's a lot of work, even with the hand tools. Back then,
Yeah.
they didn't have TV, so they had a lot of time, and they were very inspired because they were born artists too. We're exactly the same people. It's just we're just different time, and they're making beautiful things way back then. And I collect those resources because I love to go back and kind of even they inspire me to make things.
Yeah.
It's like a little collection.
I still collect books. There was a newer one that I got, but I packed some stuff away for that way when I can get ready for everything to be renovated. But I collect here and there. Like if there's a like a special exhibit, I'll definitely get the books, or just in general if I find something in like half price books or one of those
Yeah.
places and just pick something up, and like why not? It's constant inspiration. It's also a history lesson.
Yes, definitely. I totally am about that history lesson. I love the history of that. I just made a piece that was kind of a copy, like not, I can't like copy it exactly. I had beads from like the 60s, which looked like the beads that were from 4,000 years ago, but it was made out of jet and
Ooh,
the Celtic
and
necklace.
that's not easy to get.
Yeah, so but these
Yeah.
weren't, but the shape was the same and the size was about the same. I'm like, well, wait a second. I have those beads I've never used, and I've been hanging on to them for I don't know. I've had them more than 15 years now. I'm like, I know what I'm going to make with them. I'm going to recreate this necklace. It's for a photo that's coming up, but and it was a little tricky because the way it was constructed, I don't know exactly how it was constructed because you can't really see that, but there was no findings at all that were visible. So I had to kind of like think that
Oh,
through. Like,
wow.
am I gonna make this and make this where it's like
So like a
super
hidden hook.
it was more about like stringing multiple strings, and then I had
Oh.
epoxy clay little tabs, and then more of the things, and then tabs, and then it was how the necklace. It was for
Oh.
yeah, it was some
Fancy.
Celtic woman wore it, 4,000 years ago, and so I don't know how they put it all together. I have no idea. You cannot see the construction of it, but I had to come up with a way. I did, but it was using epoxy clay, and then that
Wow.
really kind of mimicked the look of the jet. So that was pretty good too. It all worked. It's okay. Could have been better. If I go back, I spent a lot of time doing it, but if I was to go back and do it in time, my tray got a little cockeyed and I kind of had it turned the wrong way. And so I kind of have one side that's kind of going a little bit, at the end
Oh.
of the day, you can't do anything about it. It's like that place, that's set. And it's like,
But see, but just like that, we're learning.
That's right. It is what it is. It's an artist statement. It's these are pieces that can be hung on a wall. They're not, they're to be worn, just like your things are all art. They're art. They're art. I tell people, like, when you're not wearing them, hang them on the wall. Like you can take those earrings and hang them on a light fixture and have that kind of
Oh, I
dang
get that.
be
Oh, I get that
beautiful.
sparkle.
Yeah, I think it's so important that our customers. So where do you have coming up for Christmas? We have what's going on in your life in the next, this is the Q4, and how is Q4 looking for you? Like what's your big takeaway from Q4 coming up?
Well, so I usually do, I haven't done as many markets, which has been part of my goal not to do as many in-person markets.
I agree.
Usually I do one in December itself, but they take forever to let you know if you're doing it or not.
I
So
agree.
usually that one is the Chicago Artisan Market. I've been doing it the last few years. That's usually like a couple of weeks or so before Christmas. I have, I don't know if you did, but I had gifted a couple of pieces to Only Murders in the Building, but that was only supposed to be like towards the last couple of episodes by the time we were finally able to like have them have us. So I'm very excited to see if anything gets worn. Although also, I mean, you never know that it's already been picked up for like at least one or two more seasons. So you
Yes.
never know now for everybody who gifted, if we get that chance. So that would be really cool. I had sent these brass chandelier earrings, and which those are, I think, are available on Etsy, and everything that has been gifted. I usually have it in the name, or it's going to be, there's a picture, or it can be asked questions, or I have like some that have press pages. So there was a pair of like these cool brass chandelier earrings, and then I sent a pair of pearl earrings. I think I sent in um I believe I sent in these. So these actually have white kasumi pearls. They're from Australia, and it's like a brass, it's a brass bar. So it's very modern and timeless, but also I feel like, I mean, at least if you're talking about Selena Gomez's character, I feel like it's kind of up her alley, where she
Oh, those
just
are
does
beautiful.
like these mixed, like it's like a mixture of times,
Yeah.
the way she dresses. So I love the costume designer. So I have that, and then um I don't know if, there's the movie Red One that's coming out in November. That's with Chris Evans and The Rock, that a lot of us had gifted to for like that Christmas movie. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens with all of those. And I don't know if I'm gonna have time to go to the theater to watch it. So I'll have to get lucky that either somebody sees it, or eventually when it comes out streaming, and then you have to watch it like 5 times. You have to like catch it because you never know, and it's an action movie, so who knows? Um, but yeah, so I've been doing a lot of work, just trying to expand like my store outreach, and trying to really get myself into other states. So that's what I love to do. Even though like I have local, and I love local, my goal for sure is to like pop up in like the Northwest, and even back in the Northeast. Although Brooklyn is not so easy. They very much love artists. But it's not easy being an artist in Brooklyn. Um, but yeah, just trying to spread myself out a bit.
I think that customers want to know that there's a little bit of gold shine on us. It's like they're one connection
Hmm.
away from something that
Yeah.
also tells the story. So when they're talking to people and people say, "Oh, yeah, I love those earrings," and you go, "Oh yeah, they are the same earrings that were worn by blah blah blah." And so that's kind of the reason why we do this. I think it's just part of the kind of the show and tell of
Yeah.
where we are as artisans, that somebody else is likes our jewelry enough to be putting it into a movie or a show. Like it does
Yeah.
matter.
Like,
It's
yeah, like
hard
that little
work.
bit of depth. I mean, it
Yeah.
shouldn't be everything that you are, I guess. Like you should be able to like still express yourself in ways that it's like, oh, I'm not just on this movie, that movie, this book, like really showing your work as art. But
So can
definitely
people
doesn't
can
mean.
Can people go to your website and see like a media page? Is that how
Yeah,
you
I have a press page. Although because someone had done it for me and I don't know coding, there's a press page and then basically referring to items, and then you can search like through the items and shop, and then like you can see pieces that way. And on Etsy too. I usually will try to have the first image as the image that, if it was gifted to a show, like, a mock-up with the show, or keep things in the name so people, can
yeah,
find things pretty
those
easily.
hashtags are
Yeah.
so important for sure.
My
Yeah. Well,
the
it's been
algorithms.
I know. Well, so I was working on I was in the hospital over the weekend, but I had Etsy orders and I was contacting the people and letting them know. I go off on Monday, and then today I went to go do the Etsy order, and almost everything was just like so hard. It was like, oh my God, it took me like 3 hours to just get everything together, and everything was just like hard. It was like I felt like I was upside down, but got to keep that algorithm going. Like, I don't care if you're near death. I don't care if you're been in a hospital for 3 days. Get that order out. I'm like, it was done. Like, done.
Yeah.
I was in the parking lot of the post office putting in my things, and I always take pictures of the package so they know what to expect. Also documents for me, and I document the receipt and send those to them. And then, a little note that says, I love 5-star reviews and all that kind of stuff. Like, there's so much to an order. I really love Etsy, and I love what it does to us because it connects us to people all over. But it being
It's a
really a
lot.
professional entrepreneur as a single person, we don't have teams of people working for us. There's just so much to
Yeah.
all this. I hope that people appreciate it. We love that their Etsy is really pushing towards gifting. So I don't want to screw up my Etsy algorithm. I want it to be good.
I know
So
I honestly used to not really care until I put the This Is Us earrings on there to purposely just have them on Etsy, not just on my home site. And once I started selling multiples of those, I'm like, well, I guess I might as well just really get back into Etsy, because I was
yeah,
on there from when really like they started, but I just didn't really do much with it because at the time I don't know, I was working on my home site. Like I felt like that mattered a lot more. Because I know like there are people who are like, oh, Etsy is oversaturated. I'm like, yeah, it's all true. And they definitely also have things that are not handmade. It's supposed to be handmade. True. But if you go on there and you know what you're doing, you can make it work for you.
yeah,
So it just requires effort and
yeah.
time.
I also buy Etsy ads. So I do
Yeah.
the click pay per
Yeah.
click ads. And that seems to kind of help. And Shopify, I'm on Shopify and Fair and blah 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 blah, like, all that kind of stuff. But it's like it does really require money. So I know that people that are listening, if you're just a shopper, do know that when you're buying something from us, it's supporting all different parts of our brand. It's the packaging that we have to pay for, and the extra postage that we don't get to recuperate, and the pay per clicks so that you found me. And just it takes a lot of time. You make
Yeah.
one pair of earrings that are like a
Yep.
one of a kind, and you still have to go through all of the
Yeah.
jargon,
Because well, it's
the
also like when you
photographing.
package it, like also you're doing if you do your regular business card, then I have a couple of different postcards. Like one is with a special discount and a thank you, and then the other one is about like, post and tag and share and whatever. And then it's also if you have special, other types of packing material. Do you have special tissue paper? Do you have like the corrugated crinkly paper? Do you have special boxes you put it in? Special pouches, like well, every little
Sure.
thing that
Oh,
comes into it.
everything. It's a really big. If I would have not been a jewelry maker, I would be a lot wealthier right now because I definitely spent every penny. And then today I'm like, oh, but I'm out of that bracelet form and I need to go. And then I'm like, oh, look at all this stuff that I need to buy. Oh yeah. And then it's like,
Mhm.
oh, stop, just hold on, wait.
You have to do window shopping. I feel like, okay, add it to your cart.
Yeah,
So
and
it's in
hold
your
on.
cart. You've done
And
your
wait.
shopping, but then walk
Yeah,
away.
I'm the same way. I never push that button until at least 24 hours.
Unless I know it's like 100% like that's my purpose, like I'm getting
Yeah,
a specific chain or whatever.
yeah,
Like, yeah, but otherwise, oh, 100%. If it's like these special gemstones that I really want to get, and then, okay, well, we'll have to wait.
yeah. Just put them in there and they're there, and then the next
We'll
order
leave
comes.
that for like a special reward.
Yeah. Well, it has been great getting to know you. I'm in Austin, so if you ever need anything from me, I would really hope that you would reach out. Like I am a friend. I tell everybody from now on, I am your friend forever. And if you reach out, you see something on blah blah blah, and you're like, oh, let's talk to Sugar about that and see what she had. Like I've been in this business for a really long time, and I love being a friend and a mentor and helping, and anything I can do to help you along the line, or if you just have a question, if you want to do a collab, like we can do all kinds of stuff together. I'm your girl, and you never have to explain yourself. You just be like, hey, it's Sara
Support
Mizrachi.
is a
And
very big deal.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's what I love about the Artisan Group. Like everybody just can have like even okay, like I don't remember her name, but her necklace, like Stevie Nicks wore the necklace in her new music video. And it's like, oh my God. And, but of course, part of me is also like, oh, I wish she was wearing my cuff that I sent her. But like that's freaking insane. That's incredible. You know,
it
it's like
is.
supporting somebody else as
Yes,
much as okay, you want to
yes,
be in their shoes to a
yes.
degree, supporting somebody else, no matter what, lifts you up too. And can you never know, could help you get to that place too.
It
Because
still feels
positivity,
good.
I've learned
Yeah,
100%, if you really just go in there and you keep having that negative thought pattern, you're not going to go anywhere.
I
So you
agree.
really like support and supporting others, and it supports you too. So
Yeah,
just
I totally
yeah, that
agree with you.
positivity goes a long way.
Yeah, we are on the same page about that. It's always good to lift other people up. That makes us all feel good. Like that's how you feel yourself feel better, is by
Mm-hmm.
lifting somebody else up. So, and today it's been fun. It's been jewelry as your side hustle with Sara Mizrachi, and we have had a great little hour. And your daughter took a nap because she didn't fit in. And I have to say, also encourage your children to be artists. My little 3-year-old granddaughter, who's been gifted jewelry since the day she was born from her grandmama, she loves to make jewelry. She can string those
Yeah.
beads.
My older two are very into when I have a massive tub of stuff that they will be allowed to get into in another couple of years.
Yeah,
I've kept a lot of stuff for them.
yeah, it's fun, and it's fun that they get to see their mother being a creator, because I think, that's a really good legacy. They say that, like, where we come from, who we are now, is like 5 generations back. So it'd be my grandmother's grandmother was an artist, and I know that my grandmother was an artist. Well, she was a dress designer. She was she made clothes, fancy clothes for rich people in Texas. So it had to have come. I don't really know what her grandmother's story was, but it definitely, it's on both sides. There was a lot of hand sewing and, handwork, and that's how I learned, was from my grandmother teaching me how to embroidery, and that became jewelry, sewing, kind of sewing jewelry, beads onto jewelry and things. So, so your kids, they're going to pass that along forward in a big way. So I hope that you'll really help them and be encouraging them
Oh
to
yeah,
be
we actually
artists.
had a whole conversation just the other day about doing something with yourself, and like so I want them to understand that you can have a skill. If you want to make it your thing, let's go for it. We're going to make sure we do it the right way, the supported way, and make it work. But
And
my oldest is 8, so she has time.
yeah, yeah. There's not pushing
No
on them.
pressure. There's really no
We're not
pressure
pushing
right
them
now.
into it. We're just opening doors and letting them explore. That's a good thing. Any last thoughts about what you'd like to share to our podcast listeners today?
Well, I like to say, like in my posts, like on Instagram, like part of them is like, I'm here for you. Because of course, like, yes, jewelry is not the first thing you need to have or always want to have. But it can always help brighten your day a little bit. I love to be able to help somebody find the thing that brings them that little bit of joy. So I'm glad to be able to be a part of that. And yeah,
And thank you to the Artisan Group for connecting us today.
yeah.
That's okay. We can say nice things about them. They're a
Oh yeah, why not? Yeah.
great
Valerie's
group.
amazing.
Yeah, so please let's get other people from that group to come join our podcast,
Sure.
spread the word.
Well,
So
not only that, if you're a creator and you haven't heard of the Artisan Group, go look them up because they're always
yes,
welcoming new members. It's not where it's this
yeah,
closed off thing. We're a big community. So if you
right.
want opportunities, go for it.
And we support each other. So it's a
Hmm.
good thing. So okay, well, I hope you have a great rest of your day and
Me too.
kind of getting ready for fall. And thank you for sharing your time with me today. It was a lot of fun,
You're
and I
welcome and thank you.
I, I really had a
Especially my coughing.
well, you didn't die, so we are gonna be
Yay.
yay for that. Okay, well, thank you again, and we will see you another time. If you ever want to chat, you got something big you want to announce, or you're like, "Hey, I got this new movie in my minute," give me a jingle and let's chat about it.
Okay,
I'll have you
let's
back
do
on.
it.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, Sarah. Take care.
You too.